Hey, what's going on, Who That Nation? It is yours truly, Timothy J. Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. As I remove my name, I'm pretty sure everybody knows by now. If you've been rocking with me, you know what my name is. But thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. No, there was no intro. I just wanted to hop right into it because I only have like a few minutes. Got something to do very, very shortly. But I did want to talk a little bit about Derek Carr and the possibility of him being done in New Orleans. Shouts out to everybody in the chat. And also, if you're watching this live, thank you for everybody that checked out Saints Talk with Timothy J. Jones on the Bleacher Report. I really do appreciate that. I really do. We talked a little bit about Derek Carr, but we're going to continue to talk about Derek Carr and answering the question, is Derek Carr done in New Orleans? Who That Nation, I don't think that's the question that needs to be asked. I think the question that needs to be asked is, does any Saints fan care that Derek Carr is done in New Orleans? Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I don't have much time. Derek Carr needs to go. The Saints organization need to rid themselves of this guy. He has a fragile ego. In my opinion, in most cases, he's soft. I just believe that the New Orleans Saints can do better. I would rather watch a quarterback fumble all over themselves, rather it's Jake Haener or even Spencer Rattler. I believe in those two guys, but I'm just being honest. I'd rather see them play every Sunday with the willingness and the ability to want to try to get better, to want to be in a Saints uniform, than to be messing around with a guy who has a false belief in himself and has never won anything of any significance in his entire career. But he's actually walking around here as if he's Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. He is not. Plain and simple. He is not. And the fact that he decides that he wants to release a video of himself critiquing a electric Rolls Royce on the day his teammates were reporting for off-season workouts pretty much tells me everything that I need to know about Derek Carr. On the last episode of the State of the Saints podcast, I pretty much told y'all what I felt about dude. The dude has a fragile ego. Let me count the ways. Do everybody remembers when Josh McDaniel was the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders and how the Vegas Raiders brought Derek Carr into their office upstairs and told him that they were going to go with the backup quarterback instead of him being supportive and being the leader that he needed to be? His ego would not allow him to do so. So instead, he went home. Yet again, we heard stories like, oh, well, it wasn't Derek Carr that wanted to go home. The Raiders told him to go home. Yet again, trying to spin a narrative to try to make himself look like he is not the enemy, making himself look like he is the victim, trying to victimize himself. Does that sound familiar? We also know that he has a fragile ego when it comes to the pecking order of quarterbacks. And I mentioned that on the last episode. Derek Carr did not sit down when he had significant injuries that limit him in 2023 because Jameis Winston was popular among Saints fans. Saints fans wanted to see Jameis Winston start. Some Saints fans felt Jameis Winston should have been a starter in the first place, and he knew that. So he didn't want to give the Saints fans the satisfaction of seeing Jameis Winston possibly look like something and have him to go to the back of the line. So he went out there and cost his team football games when he knew he couldn't do what needed to be done at the quarterback position. Do I need to continue? The Saints bent over backwards for this dude, including handicapping their quarterback room by bringing in young, inexperienced guys that were no threat to him. And what happened when the first time Derek Carr felt there was no threat to him? Oh, those injuries hurt a little bit more than they did in 2023 in 2024. Why? Because he knew that those guys weren't a threat. Saints fans saw right through Derek Carr from the get-go. And Derek Carr's biggest issue is not the boos. It's not the criticism. It's the fact that people see him for exactly who he is. And he can't convince them. You can't go to, have a Christmas donation giveaway and give away $5,000 and try to change the minds of the Who Dat Nation. Great gesture. Helped a lot of families. That's wonderful. But people still see right through you. You throw players under the bus and then act like it didn't happen. You criticize people and act like it didn't happen. You try to act like you're beyond reproach when you are the main issue. And people see right through it. So he can't control the narrative. And that's the biggest problem. And now, a couple days before it's time for your team to report, you put out, oh, I got a shoulder injury that could have me losing and costing me the entire 2025 season. Dude is soft. And Saints fans deserve better. I said this on social media. I'm saying it here on the State of the Saints podcast. Saints fans deserve better. They deserve better than a soft, fragile, egoed quarterback who has a false sense of belief in who he actually is. Once again, this isn't Aaron Rodgers we're talking about. This isn't Patrick Mahomes we're talking about. This isn't Lamar Jackson that we're talking about. We're talking about a guy who has been in the league for 12 seasons and hasn't won a playoff game. But you'll still have some of these Raider, Derek Carr sympathizers, or probably these ghosts that's probably his family members, probably telling people like myself, well, he never had a really good team around him. He never really had a good defense. He never really had a good offense. He never really had a good running game. He never really had a good offensive line. He never really had good lighting. He never had good makeup artists. He never really had the right shoes on. Oh, the turf inside of the building wasn't good enough, and he was slipping all over the place. Always an excuse for Derek Carr. Other than maybe, just maybe, the dude ain't as good as people think he is. The Saints need to separate themselves from this dude. Nobody wants to see Derek Carr in the Saints uniform. If you want to see Derek Carr in a Saints uniform, then you're probably just the biggest Derek Carr supporter on the face of God's green earth. Maybe you're Wi-Fi Willie, a guy who, for some apparent reason, just think Derek Carr is the second coming of Joe Montana. Don't know how the hell you build an entire platform off of it, but hey, it is what it is. Absolutely insane that anybody at this stage of Derek Carr's career feels like that he's capable of winning anything. I don't understand it. I mean, you got to be on some hypnosis or something like that. Like somebody had to hypnotize you for you to feel this way. Starting quarterback in the league, yes. Going to put a team on his shoulders, hex to the no. What are we doing here? Stop wasting our time. Stop wasting the Who Dat Nation time. And I already had my spiel about Mickey Loomis. I don't want to waste anybody else's time or my time going over that again. It just seems to me like things aren't going to change unless Kellen Moore is able to rise above what the heck they got going on upstairs, and the New Orleans Saints can join a quarterback to him that Kellen Moore can get the best out of. Then you will try to replicate what happened in 2006, where you had a coach that wasn't your first choice, wasn't his first choice, but ended up being here, and you had a quarterback that had a chip on his shoulder. Thus, any quarterback that was signed with the New Orleans Saints are on the roster right now. So that's where we are, Who Dat Nation. That's where we are. That's what we're facing as a fan base. A general manager that just continues to triple down, quadruple down on bad decisions, and a quarterback that is not very good, but feels like he is, and not man enough to come out and say that he wants to be traded. I've said this on countless occasions. I apologize for people that have been rocking with the show. For those that are new, I'll say it for you. Derek Carr is the NFL's Homelander. If you watch this show, The Boys, it comes on Amazon Prime. Very popular show. I love that show. Homelander is a superhero that is revered by a bunch of people, right? The only thing he wants to do is be loved and admired. That's what he come out for. He wants to be loved and admired. Anybody that criticizes him in any way, he crumbles up. And also behind the scenes, he is plotting the demise of everybody that reveres him. What I'm saying is he's a guy that smiles in your face, but behind the scenes is not his genuine feelings. And for that, I feel like Saints fans found that out a long time ago, and that's a problem that he has. That everybody in New Orleans can see that. And he knows it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Said, I hear Pac-Man in the background. Jerry, yeah, look. Yeah, he in the background. He up there, man. I think my wife brought him some home, and he excited about it, man. So, look, man, hey, we all know Packy Man are gonna find a way to appear on the show somehow, rather it's his voice or he gonna appear some way or another. All right, so I'm gonna take a few comments, then we're gonna get up out of here. Like I said, it's not gonna be a long show, man. I got something that I need to do in about 10 minutes, but I'll try to come back rather late on this evening or tomorrow to talk a little bit more about it. Says he went out the same way on the Raiders. Can't see how he even has a fan base. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And also to those Saints fans out here that are trying to make sense out of this and making other Saints fans feel bad about their take and feelings about Derek Carr, like you are the worst of them all. You're like the worst of them all. This is like you're the reason why the Saints can continue to make these decisions. Because they have individuals and bold soldiers like yourself that are justifying all of these bad decisions. And that's what I'm tired of. I'm tired of people beating around the bush. I'm tired of people trying to make sense out of bad decisions that do not make sense. They don't make sense. It's okay to say that. It's okay to still like somebody and still criticize what the heck they do. I don't understand like why we got to do this. Why are we so afraid to talk about the obvious? Mickey Loomis has not been a good general manager. He hasn't. I don't care who don't like that. I don't care who is. I don't care if you're in a. I don't care if you are a part of the Saints organization or you're around the Saints organization. You know. And I get it. Everybody got to pay their bills, but man. Dude has been fumbling the bag for years. And I like if you don't see that, then something is clearly wrong. Team has become a joke since Sean Payton and Drew Brees has left. A joke. I don't see why people just don't like you. It's okay. Like, there's no, oh, man, I'm a true Saints fan because I'm standing on the front line for the team. You're doing more harm than good. He just collecting a bag is free money. TJ, I say we draft Sanders, pick up a solid Mike T type wide receiver to round one, the core. Draft the impact player and depth and let Rattler go crazy with a full healthy roster. See what we have. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that at all. I do feel like the Saints need to draft Shadur Sanders in the first round. I do feel like they need to draft a wide receiver in the second round. May not be a popular decision, but that's the way I feel. Like the Saints don't have that Mike T type receiver. You can get Jaden Higgins, maybe with the pick out of Iowa State. You can get Trey Harris if you feel comfortable with him. Like maybe in the third round, you can get Savion Williams. A little bit of a work in progress out of the three individuals, but what you are missing, he has that skill set right now. That's what they need to do. Like try to draft players that's going to be able to make an immediate impact. Thank you, TJ. The Carr fanboys can now leave. Please, we sick of them. Man, look, if you're a Derek Carr fan at this point, like you just like pain, you just like suffering, and basically you just borderline delusional. Like, if you want to be a fan of his, fine, right? Okay, he makes some good plays. Okay, great. But sitting up here talking about what the Saints, do people understand? For 15 years, the New Orleans Saints had the epitome of great quarterback play from Drew Brees. And here's the thing. In some cases, we are comparing Derek Carr's play to Drew Brees. That's just normal. When you see something great, something special, you want to see that replicated. I understand that Derek Carr isn't Drew Brees. I get it. But at the same time, he's not even giving you anything close to that. And these Derek Carr fanboys and fangirls out there trying to make it seem like, oh, the Saints fans should be just joyous to have him around and grace us with his presence. Dude ain't that good. He's not. He is not that good. And for you to be willing to stand on the front line for a mediocre quarterback who ain't won a jack is absolutely mind-boggling to me. Like, I don't know if y'all serious or not. I mean, they do have people on social media, and they do have people that just walk around and basically have two talking points. They have a talking point for any direction that you want to go in. If you like something, they can speak against it. If you hate something, they can speak for it. Maybe they got people like that, because I don't want to believe that a person in their right minds that understand the game, the X's and the O's, the Willies and the Joes, that they are willing to say and fight to the death verbally that and say that Derek Carr is top 10. I don't care what the numbers say. I don't care. I say this all the time. All stats aren't created equal. Because here's the reality. The same people that are saying Shedeur Sanders and talking about his stats are the same people trying to justify Derek Carr. So if you look at Shedeur Sanders, and I'm just saying this, I don't believe this, but if you're looking at, you can't say on one hand Shedeur Sanders not the answer because look at his numbers, they're inflated, and not look at Derek Carr and not think the same thing. What's the difference? If that's your argument, but I digress. Dude ain't that good. Decent, but not that good. Few more. TJ, the Rolls Royce video Carr and his brothers, they did don't mean a damn thing to me in my mind and mine. That man don't want to be in Nolan. Yep, and that pretty much spoke volumes. That was bad taste, and that was basically Carr telling the organization without, doing it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Two of them fingers in the air. Derek Carr is going to get booed out of the Superdome with or without us. Don't nobody want to see that, man. Look, man. The current situation of the Saints franchise feels like the pre-Benson disaster of a franchise. I don't know. Look, the current iteration, excuse me, I don't know why I said it. The current iteration of the Saints franchise feels like a pre-Benson disaster of a franchise. Yeah, look, I just think I think this. I think that the New Orleans Saints are just, like you go into they got that staple store in your hometown. It's like the whole world has changed around them. They didn't embrace modern technology, and they didn't embrace all these different things, right? And they added it to this store. But this mom and pop store that sits in the middle of town that has been a staple Still has a cash register where you basically tapping in the numbers like a typewriter. They still got that same conveyor belt, that they fixed about 1,000,000 times. They know the motor about to go out, but they know how to fix it now. It's the same old shelves that they've been had. The shelves have been replaced and fixed so many different times. Haven't really put out any new shelving. That is what the New Orleans Saints are. The New Orleans Saints are a team that just doesn't seem like they just want to conform to what the NFL is becoming. It seems like they are okay and they settled and they set in their ways and they're not looking at what other teams are doing to find success. And then on top of that, they're just going to continue to do things their way. I mean, it almost is like the same old thing. Like, did you sign Derek Carr and, look at his AC joint and was like, oh, he has AC joint injury? Drew Brees had a dislocated shoulder. He had to get a surgery. He had a bad rotator cuff, and we signed him, and look what happened. So I don't know if you're just looking at, I hope not, but I don't know if you're looking at the same situation with Drew Brees and like, oh, if we would have gave up on Drew and said, hey, Drew had a bad rotator cuff, what we would have been. So it's the same old rinse and repeat. It worked for Drew. It can work for Derek. We fell into Sean Payton. We fell into Kellen Moore. So maybe you're trying to replicate 2006. But guess what? 2006 was 18 years ago. Or 19 years ago. I don't know. 19 years ago. 19 years ago. Bro, you got to embrace the times. You got to embrace the times, man. Let's see. Mevin Lewis is a Saints fan. How about Carr? Top 10 most hated. Mike T. Top 10 for being an absolute joke or jerk. Oh, yeah, he up there. He up there. He up there with the, I think, shouts out to Matt Moscone. I think he mentioned this. He up there with the Jason Davids, the Brandon Browners, the Jarius Birds. Like, he up there with that. And even with them, you know what I'm saying? At least they tried. Like, Brandon Browner was out there. At least he was out there getting worked, beat like a Persian rug, smoked like brisket, burnt like a biscuit. But at least he was out there battling. At least he was trying to grab on to guys. At least he wasn't trying to sit around and collect the check. At least Jason David, he was getting smoked, roasted, and toasted all over the field. But at least dude tried to go out there and compete. Like, Jarius Bird, it was just some unfortunate situations. Dude just stayed hurt. But he wanted to be out there. Derek Carr, if he don't get his way, he whines like a petulant child. Grown man out here pouting, having a fit. Oh, they want somebody else where they could get somebody else. They won't need me. Man, if you're a dog, you're going to go out there and say no matter who you bring in, I'm going to beat them out. I want y'all to put this, I want y'all to fully understand what I'm saying. The New Orleans Saints in 2017 went to Drew Brees and said to Drew, if we can get Patrick Mahomes, we're going to draft him. Did Drew say, well, if you get Patrick Mahomes, you can go ahead and trade me or release me? You know what Drew Brees said? Well, he better get comfortable with sitting on the bench. That is what he said about the best quarterback in the modern era. That's what he said about him. Because you know why? Because Drew is a dog. Drew understood no matter who you bring in, I'm going to beat him out. You're not going to get here before me. You're not going to leave here. You're not going to leave here before I do. And I'm going to grind harder than you. This is Patrick Mahomes we talking about here. Derek Carr out here trying to fight for his life for people that consider this guy not even a starter in Jameis Winston. Fragile ego. soft as a baby's bottom. And I look, as a person, as a human being, seems great. Looked at some of the stuff he does from a spiritual level, I feel it. But as a football player, done with dude. Done with him. And the Saints should be too. The Saints should be too. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Much love to you. Once again, I'll be back, if not later on this evening. If you're watching this live, tomorrow we'll get into more questions, comments. I do apologize. I know this show is shorter than it normally is, but I had some things that I had to do. But I really do appreciate it. Also, check out the live mock draft on Bleacher Report. 32 teams will be represented by respected podcasters, reporters on Bleacher Report. Starting at 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., we're going to be breaking down the NFL draft. So make sure that you come over. Make sure you check out Saints Talk with Timothy J. Jones. I really do appreciate those that came over to that platform. You can follow me on X at TJAYJones8. And also check me out, NFC South Roundtable. We did mock draft on NFC South Roundtable this past Tuesday, and we had a really good time. We broke down the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft. So going on over to the NFC South Roundtable. Tell me how I did. Tell me if you agree or disagree with what I said. Keep in mind, I made those picks based on what was available, because we did it on a draft simulator. So kind of can see it. Not so much my full feelings about it, but make sure you check it out. All right. And I really do appreciate it. Shouts out to everybody in the chat. I will get to your questions a little bit later. I do want to read. I got to do this though, man, because individuals that spend their hard-earned money to invest in the show. Thank you so much. T. Riley, thank you very much for the $5. Says, I want this Derek Carr wreck nightmare to end. Thank you very much for the $5. And Roderick, thank you for your $5. Says, man, Carr better not show his face nowhere in New Orleans. He got us effed up. Yeah, man. I mean, you on some Anthony Davis type status when it comes to New Orleans right now. But yeah, it ain't no coming back from that. Till next time, all I gotta say is, who dat?
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast. Please subscribe to our channel.
All I gotta say is, who dat?